Nice old morning, Lochcarron Lodge Hotel. What a beautiful building is that. It reminds me of The Shining. I'm expecting Jack Nicholson to jump on. There's the lodge where we... Oh well, the bunkhouse where we slept.
Lochcarron Lodge Hotel is a former shooting lodge that was built in 1904. The bunkhouse is in the hotel grounds, and although it doesn't look great from the outside, it's pretty good on the inside. Its cheap price means that it's basic, but very good value for money. And coming from Yorkshire, we love that.
Stunning. First thing, see some breakfast on board. We're done for the day. Huge brown cafe. What a beautiful place. Nice people.
Well, what can I tell you about Achnasheen then? There's not much there really, apart from a few houses, a cafe and a train station. The settlement itself is a historic junction of two routes used by drovers in the old days. These routes form the basis of the roads that now go to Gairloch and Loch Carron.
Being inside working anyway.
Well, after a good breakfast, it was on with day 2, Achnasheen to Torridon. The weather was dull, but we weren't really bothered in the slightest. We rode out of Achnasheen and took the A890 towards Loch Carron, passing the Lochcarron Lodge Hotel again. As it was the end of the summer season, it was totally empty, and it seemed spooky. We laughed again and joked that it reminded us of that film, The Shining, starring Jack Nicholson.
Wow. That's remote living. I like remote, but maybe not that much. There's a bit of a headwind going on. It's me knocking the edge off the speed. A bit annoying.
After a few more miles down the road, the scenery started to get interesting again.
We're still following the train line down there.
One thing's for sure, when you're cycling there's nothing like a sign for a cafe to spur you onwards. We eventually rolled into the Albatross Cafe car park. Like I always say, there's always time for coffee time.
Hiya.
Morning.
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Not a bad brew stop. Look at this. Loch Carron. There's where the road forks off, so maybe hopefully we get rid of half the traffic. Oh, what a setting. Look at that.
Fueled up on tea and cake, we set off again.
I think it's warmed up.
Loch Carron is a lovely little village at the head of a deep sea loch. Seals and dolphins swim in to visit these waters, and if you sit on one of the shoreline benches you might be lucky enough to see some. Oddly enough, for such a small place, Loch Carron has its own golf club. Well, what I didn't mention was the night before at the bunkhouse we were talking to a lady cyclist who was a member of a backup team for a guy riding the NC500 on a unicycle. Up until now, I'd forgotten all about it until we bumped into him and his crew. Bruce Rose was on a mission to help recovering alcoholics and was raising awareness of a treatment called the Sinclair method by unicycling the NC500. Bruce is the founder of Alcohol Recovery Scotland, which is a not-for-profit organisation. I've put a link to his website in the description in case you want to learn more about it. Well done, Bruce. Big respect to the man for undertaking this massive feat of endurance and tenacity. Well, that was a punchy steep climb at the top now. I think there's just two more like this before Torridon. Waterfall up there. That's where we've just come up. You don't realise when you're coming up, but if you look back, the view is absolutely stunning. No wonder I'm knackered. Covered in sweat again. Bloody amazing. Absolutely bloody stunning. A waterfall up there. Now a bit of downhill. After that long steep climb I was drenched in sweat and was glad of the long downhill ahead as it gave me a chance to dry off in the breeze. Pretty soon we rolled into Kishorn. Now, back in the 1970s, due to its depth, Loch Carron was chosen as a site for a dry dock to build oil rigs. Furthermore, in 1992, the yard was used to prefabricate parts for the Skye Bridge. Today, the dry dock sits there closed and abandoned. There's one strange looking mountain. All the strata on it. He's striated, isn't he? You've been coasting for 2 days. You need a workout. Well, it was inevitable. Alan Ironlegs just couldn't resist the challenge. Alan's decided to do the Gairloch na Bar, a 30-mile detour up the steepest pass in the UK, I think. Good on him. All the way up there. A bit out of my league, I'm afraid. Make my way that direction to Torridon Youth Hostel. I would have stopped for a coffee, but I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm actually full. That breakfast was pretty bloody good. And I've sort of stuffed my face with cream scones from that last cafe stop. So on one rare occasion, I don't need to stop. Last bit of the ride, now change direction, go back up the coast to Torridon. I've got to say, this landscape round here is just out of this world. Getting nowhere fast, as usual. You cycle along and then you look behind and it's even more spectacular from the other direction. is here. It's like those mountains on Skye. So I've come from down there. And up down here. Down there. It's like I've stopped climbing now, which means there'll be a nice descent. Absolutely bloody beautiful. There's so much to see, you don't know when to stop taking video. That's where Alan will come out. Now, I'd read about Shieldaig whilst planning this trip, and I was curious to see it for myself. Shieldaig village was a planned fishing village that was built during the Napoleonic Wars in 1810. It was intended to provide a reserve of seamen who could serve in the Royal Navy during times of conflict. As part of the same scheme, Shieldaig Island was planted with trees to provide timber for boats. Fish prices were guaranteed, and salt for preserving the fish was provided for free. However, the war finished before the scheme was completed and any seamen were trained. The timber on the island was never harvested either, and that island is now a nature reserve full of eagles, guillemots, otters and other wildlife. The village was very beautiful, and I spent a bit of time there just looking around and taking pictures. Well, that was a nice detour. Well worth seeing. Let's get back on the road now, on the route, and go get to Torridon. What a beautiful place that Shieldaig is. After a bit of a climb, there was a nice viewpoint overlooking Loch Torridon. Broody. Anyway. Giant Lego bricks. You looking for the youth hostel? Oh. The youth hostel wasn't open until 5, so I had a bit of time to kill. I wasn't expecting it to look so smart and modern, and I was keen to see it inside.
This youth hostel's outstanding. It's absolutely beautiful in there. But never mind that, look at these mountains around it. They're just absolutely humongous. Look at the size of that. Absolutely dwarfs it. You're not even going to get a feel for it with this wide angle lens. What a good spot this is. Anyway, reception's not open yet. Be a bit a while yet. I'm not really bothered. Tell you what, I've been carrying this stupid brew kit round for 2 days. I'm going to make a brew now. Might as well use the bloody stuff.
The hostel was amazing. Just take a look.
How was your posting?
Say hi, you're famous now.
The manager, just filled the place with laughter and enthusiasm. She was the cause of the amazing atmosphere in the place. Nothing was too much trouble for her, and she went the extra mile to make sure we had everything that we needed for a fantastic stay there.
Awesome, what a place. My wife's been laughing at me staying in a youth hostel, telling me it's a £5 a night dive. She doesn't know what she was on about. This place is well nice.
There are 17 Munros in the Torridon area, a National Trust Information Centre, a deer park and a deer museum. It's a mecca for walkers and climbers.